Hello, welcome to our news program here from the VNA Center in Hanoi. I'm Ngọc Hà, and our top stories right now.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng receives U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius. Vietnam wins Food and Agricultural Organization's pledges for hunger reduction efforts. Press photo competition captures beautiful and not so beautiful aspects of daily life.
President Trương Tấn Sang met with Minister for Development of Russian Far East, ISRF, in Hanoi on June 17th.
He proposed the Russian side devises concrete incentives for Vietnamese businesses and workers in the Far East. President Sang suggested the two sides specify the contents of the comprehensive strategic partnership during the visit. ISRF stressed that his ministry has worked with relevant Russian agencies to develop a strategic socio-economic development scheme for the Far East until 2025. He said the region is focusing on natural resources exploitation, chemical industry, shipbuilding, aquaculture, the Trans-Siberian Railway and airport. Informing his host of the land and set incentives for foreign investors in the Far East, the minister called on Vietnamese companies to invest and get projects underway.
U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius has affirmed that her country is committed to working with Vietnam to combat emerging epidemics, especially infectious diseases. The U.S. Secretary was received by Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng in Hanoi on June 17th.
At the meeting, Sebelius said the U.S. and Vietnamese health sectors enjoy close collaboration through the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, especially in the fight against HIV/AIDS and emerging pandemics like SARS and avian flu. The Prime Minister highly valued the outcomes of talks between Sebelius and Health Minister Nguyễn Thị Kim Tiến, as well as agreements reached during her visit. Particularly, the agreement on health and medical science signed between the two governments will help cement the two countries' cooperation. He said he hopes the two ministries will work closely together to effectively implement the agreement and assist the Vietnamese health sector in human resources training. The host suggested the U.S. continues helping Vietnam with funding and expertise to fight HIV/AIDS as well as control the outbreak of avian influenza. The same day, the Health Minister and the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services signed an agreement on health and medical science cooperation. Under the deal, the U.S. side will have Vietnam enhance the capacity of staff responsible for controlling the quality of drugs. New methods and techniques will be transferred to the Vietnamese side. The two sides will work together to quickly discover and prevent fake and low-quality drugs. They also agreed to join hands in establishing medical standards and improving the quality of laboratories and setting up biological safety labs. HIV/AIDS prevention is also part of the two sides' cooperation. In July 2006, the first agreement on health and medical science cooperation between Vietnam and the U.S. was signed, focusing on fighting HIV/AIDS, enhancing the capacity of those working in the fields of food safety, hygiene, and pharmacy.
Vietnam has been honored by the Food and Agriculture Organization for its outstanding achievements in reducing hunger and poverty. The country was one of 38 nations to receive the UN agency's praise at an awards ceremony in Rome on June 16th.
Vietnam also received special recognition, along with 17 other nations, for reaching its Millennium Development Goal No. 1 of halving the proportion of hungry people before 2015, and the more stringent World Food Summit goal of halving the absolute number of undernourished people in the country. Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Nguyễn Thị Xuân Thu expressed her thanks to the organization for its cooperation, technical support, and aid in institution building, policy consultation, and agricultural capacity development over the past 30 years. According to the organization, Vietnam has reduced the proportions of people suffering from hunger from 46.9% in the 1990-1992 period to 9% in the 2010 and 2012 period. However, Vietnam is still facing food security challenges due to its booming population and shrinking farmland areas.
A conference to improve the capacity of the network of the ASEAN Commission on the promotion and protection of the rights of women and children was held in Quang Ninh Province on June 17th.
At the conference, participants discussed the updated information on the awareness enhancement of the rights of women and children in the region and the world. They shared news on the Commission's plans, ASEAN's human rights issues, equality best practices for women and children in education and healthcare, and the role of the Commission and other organizations in protecting women and children. Delegates presented their opinions to help develop ASEAN's draft declaration on the prevention of violence against women and children and the Commission's terms of reference in Vietnam. The Commission has had 20 representatives of women and children's rights in the 10 member nation ASEAN. To date, it has organized 7 meetings to define its operation principles, fields, and priorities from 2012 to 2016. It has also organized regional and national scale talks and consultations among stakeholders.
The country's shrimp exports in the first half of this year was estimated at $1.03 billion, up 1.5% over the same period last year.
However, the Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers forecasts that shrimp exports to the U.S. would hardly improve in the third quarter. This is due to the U.S. Department of Commerce's recent preliminary decision on anti-subsidy duties on frozen shrimp imported from 7 countries, including Vietnam, the association explained. Exports of shrimp to Japan were expected to increase by just 1 to 3% in the second and the third quarters over the same periods last year. The association said the devaluation of the yen against the U.S. dollar caused difficulties for those exporting shrimp to Japan, and the check of ethyl-sequin level in shrimp continued to hinder shrimp exports to the market. In European markets, shrimp exports would remain gloomy in the third quarter as the EU economy struggled. Vietnam earned about $2.25 billion from shrimp exports last year, 6.3% lower than 2011. This year's figure was expected to reach $2.4 billion.
The Vietnam Journalists Association on June 17th held a ceremony to announce the award-winning entries of a press photo competition to capture the beautiful and not so beautiful aspects of daily life.
The competition aims to reflect the beauty of the country and Vietnamese people in the process of national construction and defense. The photo, hands created light by journalist and photographer Nguyễn Tất Lộc, topped the list of award-winning works. Launched in March this year, the contest drew the participation of numerous journalists and photographers, with many pieces reflecting on aspects of people's life nationwide, from images that reflect the good to others that criticize bad manners and behaviors. In my opinion, the theme of the competition is very good. I suggest we continue holding photo competitions and exhibitions like this to help people recognize the good and bad things in life. All of my submitted photos are about work. Through the images, I want to pay tribute to workers with high technical skills and who comply with labor regulations. After the competition, 72 outstanding photos were selected to go on display to mark this year's Vietnam Revolutionary Press Day.
That wraps up our news program today. I'm Ngọc Hà and the rest of the team. We thank you always for joining us and see you next time.